The Middle East is exploding again. Iran and Israel are locked in an unprecedented conflict, but this time with nuclear consequences that could devastate the entire world. What I'm about to reveal has been hidden for centuries, ancient biblical. Texts expose the supernatural forces behind this hatred. This isn't just politics. It's spiritual warfare that goes back thousands of years. Want to discover the forbidden truth that experts don't want you to know? Stay with me because I'm about to expose the shocking origins of this ancient hatred that could change everything you thought you knew about this conflict. The alarming geopolitical tensions in the Middle East have reached critical levels, right? Now, as we speak, Israeli jets are soaring toward Syria. Emergency evacuations are underway in Baghdad, and intelligence sources confirm that a nuclear offensive could happen within days, not months. But here's what the mainstream media absolutely will not tell you. This conflict has ancient roots that go far deeper than modern politics, oil disputes, or territorial claims. The biblical origins of Iranian hatred toward Israel reveal a terrifying supernatural dimension that most people have never discovered. And today I'm going to take you on a journey that will completely transform your understanding. We're not just talking about the nations having a disagreement. We're talking about an ancient spiritual war that has been raging for over 2,000 years, involving demonic entities, archangels, and prophecies that are being fulfilled right before our eyes. Today, we're going on a comprehensive journey through ancient texts, explosive revelations, and hidden truths that will transform your understanding of this conflict forever. By the end of this video, you'll understand why this isn't just another Middle Eastern dispute. It's the continuation of a supernatural battle that began in biblical times. But before we dive into these mind-blowing revelations, I need you to smash that like button if you're ready to uncover forbidden knowledge that most people will never hear. Your support literally makes these deep investigations possible. And if you're obsessed with discovering hidden truths like I am, make sure to subscribe and hit that notification bell for exclusive content that goes where others fear to tread. Let me expose something absolutely shocking that will blow your mind. Iran isn't just a modern nation that appeared on the map recently. It's an ancient kingdom with mysterious origins that stretch back over 4,000 years. The Iranian people are descendants of the legendary Aryans, a powerful nomadic people who dominated this entire region and established one of the world's first great empires. But here's where it gets really interesting. And this is something most historians completely overlook, according to comprehensive biblical and historical research. The land we now call Iran was originally inhabited by a completely different people. It was called Elam in ancient times, a Semitic nation, part of the same family tree as the Israelites themselves, but through massive waves of Aryan migration over centuries. These Indo-European peoples completely transformed the region and made Iran their permanent homeland. The fascinating etymology reveals explosive truths about their identity. The word Iran literally means land of the Aryans, derived from the ancient Persian term Rayanan, which means noble or worthy. This wasn't just a geographical designation, it was a declaration of racial and cultural superiority that has persisted for millennia. But here's what's truly remarkable. The Aryans who settled in Iran developed into the Persian Empire, which became one of the most powerful forces in the ancient world. These are the same Persians mentioned throughout the Bible, sometimes as enemies of God's people, sometimes as their liberators. This dual nature is absolutely crucial to understanding what's happening today. Now here's where this story takes an absolutely mind-blowing turn that will challenge everything you think you know about. International politics. In Daniel chapter 10, we discover what might be the most powerful revelation about this entire conflict. The prophet Daniel, who was living in exile in the Persian Empire itself, received a supernatural vision that exposes the true source of Iranian hatred toward Israel. It's not what you think. Let me read you this incredible passage. In the 3rd year of Cyrus, king of Persia, a revelation was given to Daniel on the 24th day of the 1st month, as I was standing on the bank of the great river Tigris. I looked up, and there before me was a man dressed in linen, with a belt of fine gold from a buzz around his waist. This angelic being then reveals something absolutely terrifying to Daniel. Do not be afraid, Daniel. Since the first day that you set your mind to gain understanding and to humble yourself before your God, your words were heard, and I have come in response to them. But the prince of the Persian kingdom resisted me 21 days. Then Michael, one of the chief princes, came to help me, because I was detained there with the king of Persia. Do you realize what this means? This passage is revealing that there's a demonic entity, a terrifying fallen angel, that has been specifically assigned by Satan himself to control the spiritual realm over the Persian Empire, which is modern-day Iran. This isn't just human hatred we're dealing with. This isn't just political disagreement or cultural differences. There is literally a supernatural force of evil that has been influencing Persian and Iranian leadership for 2,000 years, poisoning their hearts with supernatural hatred against God's chosen people. The text reveals something even more alarming. This demonic entity was so incredibly powerful that it actually prevented God. This angel, who many biblical scholars believe, was Gabriel himself from delivering his message for 21 full days. Think about that. A demon so powerful that it could resist one of God's highest-ranking angels for 3 weeks, only when Michael the Archangel, the supreme commander of God's army, the Prince of Israel himself, personally intervened in this spiritual battle. Was this demonic prince of Persia finally defeated and forced to allow God's message to be delivered out now? Some of you might be thinking, this sounds like ancient mythology. What does this have to do with modern Iran? Let me show you how this spiritual reality has played out through our history in ways that will absolutely astound you. Throughout history, we see this supernatural influence manifesting in very real, very tangible ways. The Persian Empire, despite its occasional role as God's instrument, like when Cyrus allowed the Jews to return from Babylonian exile, consistently showed this underlying spiritual hostility toward God's purposes. Even when Persia was being used by God for his purposes, we see this spiritual resistance operating behind the scenes. The Book of Esther reveals how Persian leadership was manipulated into attempting genocide against the Jewish people. The story of Haman's plot wasn't just political intrigue. It was this same demonic prince working through human agents to try to destroy God's chosen people. Fast forward to modern times, and we see this exact same pattern repeating. Iran, despite having periods of relatively peaceful relations with Israel, consistently returns to this position of supernatural hatred. It's not based on rational political calculations. It's driven by spiritual forces that most political analysts completely ignores. The Iranian leadership's obsession with destroying Israel goes far beyond normal geopolitical rivalry. They're willing to sacrifice their own nation's economic prosperity, international standing, and even the safety of their own people in pursuit of this goal. That's not normal political behavior. That's spiritual compulsion. This ancient spiritual battle is still raging today with an intensity that should terrify anyone who understands what's really happening. The same demonic entity that operated in Daniel's time is still actively influencing Iranian leadership, poisoning their hearts with supernatural hatred against Israel. Look at the evidence. Iran spends billions of dollars they desperately need for their own people on proxy wars against Israel. They fund Hamas, Hezbollah, and other terrorist organizations whose primary purpose is the destruction of the Jewish state. They're developing nuclear weapons despite crippling international sanctions, openly declaring their intention to wipe Israel off the map. This isn't rational state behavior. This is spiritual compulsion. No normal government would sacrifice so much of their nation's well-being for such a destructive obsession unless they were being influenced by supernatural forces. But here's what makes this even more fascinating and terrifying. We're seeing this spiritual battle intensifying as we approach what many biblical scholars believe are the end times. The frequency and intensity of these conflicts are increasing, just as prophecy predicted. And here's something that most people don't realize. Iran is specifically mentioned in end times prophecy. Ezekiel 38 describes a great coalition of nations that will come against Israel in the last days, and Persia, modern-day Iran, is explicitly named as one of the leading forces in this attack. What we're witnessing today isn't just current events. It's the setup for biblical prophecy being fulfilled right before our eyes. If this revelation is absolutely blowing your mind like it did mine when I first discovered it, I need you to share this video with someone who needs to know these hidden truths. This is information that could change how people understand everything happening in the Middle East. And tell me in the comments, did you know about this supernatural dimension of the Iran-Israel conflict before watching this video? So there you have it, the complete picture of why Iran harbors such intense irrational hatred toward Israel. It's not just politics. It's not just religion. It's not just territorial disputes. It's ancient spiritual warfare that has been raging for thousands of years. This demonic prince of Persia continues to influence Iranian leadership today, driving them toward conflict with God's chosen people with a supernatural compulsion that defies rational explanation. Understanding this supernatural dimension is absolutely crucial for anyone who wants to truly comprehend not just Middle Eastern conflicts, but the spiritual battle between good and evil that's playing out on the world stage. The frightening truth is that as we approach the end times, these spiritual battles will only intensify. What we're witnessing isn't just geopolitical tension, it's the fulfillment of ancient prophecies that were written thousands of years ago. But here's what gives me hope. Just as Michael the Archangel defeated this demonic prince in Daniel's time, God's ultimate victory is assured. The spiritual forces of evil may seem to be winning temporary battles, but the war itself has already been decided. If you found this deep dive into biblical prophecy and modern events valuable, make sure you're subscribed with the notification bell activated. I'm constantly uncovering these hidden connections between ancient texts and current events that most people never see. Comment below with your thoughts on this supernatural revelation, and let me know what other biblical mysteries you want me to investigate next. Should I do a deep dive into the other demonic princes mentioned in Scripture? What about the role of Michael the Archangel in modern conflicts? And remember, stay vigilant, stay informed, and keep seeking the truth behind the headlines. Until next time, God bless P.